ain't signing nothing. Hey, I am Chuck the bureaucrat, and there is this weird saying that men get shot for the things they say, but men get hung for the things that are written down. And I know. This sounds like some kind of old-timey Wild West notion, but I assure you that this sentiment is alive and well within the halls of bureaucracy, and especially the military bureaucracy. I mean, it should be obvious that for most people, if you get to pick the way you go out, a bullet in the chest is a heck of a lot easier than months and months of wrangling with the courts, only to be followed by a big show and then 7 minutes of kicking at the end of a rope. And, to a certain extent, the same line of thinking applies to a military career. A career that ends because of some fiery confrontation, well, it's not as painful as a career that ends because of paperwork. Plus, let's be honest, people are a lot less likely to come after you for something you said 3 years ago. But if they've got your signature, you're never really sure when they're coming for you. Now, most of us have seen some version of this behavior at the company level. I was a quartermaster, I worked as a battalion property officer and a brigade supply officer, and I ran a clothing issue facility. I'm not telling you anything new when I say that the run-of-the-mill staff sergeant is not happy about having to sign a hand receipt. And that behavior, well, it exists at the Pentagon and Major Command headquarters. General officers do not like signing things. But so what? I mean, who cares? Well, as you get promoted and you rise in the bureaucracy, there's going to be 3 things that happen to you. Number 1, you are going to need other people to sign more and more documents. Number 2, more and more people are going to be expecting you to sign documents. And number 3, your boss is going to have to sign documents. And in a second, you'll see why that is a whole different kettle of fish. All right. So let's start with when you need people to sign things. Right off the bat, recognize that this is essentially a trust exercise. How you behave, and particularly that you behave in a trustworthy manner, well, it's going to matter a lot. For instance, all right, you're signing for 7 laptops. You see where it says 7 on the hand receipt? All right, now you see the laptops stacked here. Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right. Now, I stacked them in the order that the serial numbers are on the hand receipt. So here's the first one. See the serial number? You good? All right, now here's the second one. Taking the time and walking people through the process of protecting themselves before they sign, well, it's a heck of a lot more trustworthy than just throwing the stuff at them and trying to scoot them out the door. And I keep using the word trust, but I do want to warn you. There is this one phrase that you must never, ever use, and that is, trust me. Anytime somebody says that you should trust them, it is time to watch your back. Oh, and there is one more mundane thing about trying to get people to sign documents. Does it really need a signature? Because if it doesn't, please don't waste people's time. Or, if it does have to be signed, make the document as simple and as direct as possible. And as much as you can, you want to tie the whole thing to regulation and policy. In accordance with AR blah blah blah, paragraph 2C, the commander has the authority to set the daily uniform for his soldiers. Therefore, soldiers will wear the Class A uniform on Friday. Short and easy to understand. All right, so let's talk about the second issue, which is as you rise in rank, more and more people will want you to sign things. First, we got to go back to this question of, is this document necessary? And I'm telling you, just because your predecessor signed a similar document, it does not mean that you need to. And another good rule of thumb is, does this document actually represent a decision? Nothing irks me more than some kind of signed document that doesn't do anything more than reiterate existing policy. There doesn't need to be a memo saying that the commander has the authority to set the daily uniform. because the Secretary of the Army already said that in the AR. What matters is the commander's decision about what uniform to wear. And if the memo doesn't state a decision, well, it certainly doesn't need the commander's signature. And second, is the decision clear? Because I'll guarantee you that overly fancy, flowery, unnecessary language, it'll get you in more trouble than anything else. You just want to say, because A and B are true, we are going to do C. That's it. No commentary, no exposition. Now, where this whole aversion to signatures gets really fun is when you mix general officers and SES and political appointees into the whole mix. There are going to be things that not only don't they want to sign, but they really shouldn't. That's when it becomes really handy to have, a couple of terminal colonels on the staff. Not exactly to take one for the team, but certainly to provide the brass with some safe distancing. Which brings us back to the original point, that men get shot for the things they say, and they get hung for the things that are written down. And believe it or not, as the nation goes through the normal cycle of high-intensity and low-intensity conflicts, the ability to safely stick to verbal instructions, well, that comes and goes too. And if you want to see just how different the military experience can be at different points in time, watch this video to see what I describe as the military generations.